Will we have a debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris? And this is a very interesting um combo. Where do you guys come down on the debate thing? Because as you know, Donald Trump has been a any place, anytime debate guy until Kamala Harris came around, who doesn't even have a great track record of debates.
Right.
So now Donnie said over the weekend that the only debate he will agree to is at Fox News in an open forum with no microphone controls. He will not go to the ABC debate. He will only go to a Fox News debate in a public venue where he gets to choose the moderator and you can't turn his microphone off. Which I'm kind of perplexed by the news cycle over the weekend. I'm kind of perplexed by this. Because he's got real, I mean, I just told you the Dow, I think, is now off 1,200 points this morning. Why are you not talking about the economy, bro?
Yeah.
Why are you not talking about the fact the Dow is off 1221.57?
Like we would call that a historic.
This
fall,
is one of the worst
right?
days in the history of the Dow.
So
we're down to 38,515.
They're handing it to you on a platter, bro.
Talk about the economy. Talk about the jobs report. You did a rally in Atlanta and you spent more time criticizing the fire marshal than you did criticizing Kamala Harris. And this debate, I think he has to do a debate with her. It's critically important. It's his domain. It's where he has historically taken over campaigns.
Facts.
And won elections.
Yeah.
What is it about Kamala Harris that scares him so much that he now is reneging on his promise to do this debate and is trying to set up a debate that's only Fox News, that's his moderators in a public forum where you can't control his microphone? I don't understand what the party of Trump's campaign strategy is here, because it's getting late. It's not early anymore. We are in August. They are going to today, I would assume, we're going to find out who Kamala Harris is picking for her vice president. I would assume it's Governor Shapiro.
Right.
But we'll see. She has a campaign rally tomorrow in Philadelphia where she will introduce this person. We're going in the wrong direction if you're the party of Trump. You're now nationally, you're losing by a point, margin of error. Battleground states, you're behind in most of them. Like, I don't understand. And maybe it's because you can't, and I totally get that. You got to get this guy a message, because you're watching the elections slip away from the party of Trump. I mean, every single day. And all Kamala Harris has to do is not talk, because he's just doing interview after interview, doing conversation after conversation, where you cannot get away from the things he's saying. And whether it's the NABJ last week, where he talked about how illegal immigration is taking black jobs, whether it is him talking about her, whether she's black or not, like, he just continues to make these mistakes because he's off script. And I would personally like to just ask, what was he doing at the NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists? And now we know, and it's been confirmed by just about every media source, Axios, New York Times, LA Times had it, Washington Post had it. I mean, it's not it's not arguable that the reason that he was late to the NABJ was not because he wasn't there, not because they had audio issues, because he would not take the stage unless they agreed not to fact check him in real time. there was a by all accounts, a very serious conversation backstage, where Donald Trump said, I'm not going on unless you agree not to fact check me in real time. What was this guy doing there? So now you have a candidate in Donald Trump who can't stay on message when he's talking, even though there's a teleprompter right in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a campaign that's putting him into these terrible situations.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't understand the strategy there, honestly. Like, and you go and you do this interview, and you look bad doing it. Like they ran him in circles, and at one point had him trapped on whether he would, pardon some folks, the January 6th folks, and like it was pretty heated. And frankly, I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, dude, like this is not good. Like I'm not even saying I do think Donnie can improve on his talking points and the things he like the literal words he speaks.
Certainly.
He can improve in that area. But make no mistake about it, the campaign sending him there is a mistake. That's a problem.
I don't know what he was thinking.
I don't know what you thought you were going to get out of that. I don't know if you thought that going there would help you garner more of the black vote, or like what the idea was there. But I think that whole situation, that happening, combined with, this nonsense around a debate. I don't understand how the campaign is sitting here letting this dude go on True Social and post about, hey, let's do it in a safer space, essentially. Fox, Mike's, I get the moderator.
And here's his post on True Social. I'll see her. I've agreed with Fox News to debate Kamala Harris on Wednesday, September 4th. The debate previously scheduled against Sleepy Joe on ABC, but has been terminated in that Biden will no longer be a participant, and I am in litigation against ABC and George Slopadopoulos, again with the name calling. The Fox News debate will be held in the Great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania at a site in an area to be determined. The moderator of the debate will be Brett Baer and Martha McCallum, two of his biggest supporters. And the rules will be similar to the rules of the debate with Sleepy Joe, who has been treated horribly by his party. So essentially, he's telling you, I'll do it in Pennsylvania. I'll do it on Fox News with my two hand-picked moderators. And he essentially said yesterday at his rally, they will not be able to cut me off this time, which is about his microphones. So
I just think it's the strategy of it is yeah, it's not logical. And this is the conversation that like we've been having on the show for a while. Like every time you do something that is not logical and puts you kind of in a bad place, you're making it so that Kamala Harris doesn't have to really speak to improve her position in the polls and with voters. And that's what's incredible to me is that, again, I just want to keep pointing this out. The Democrats were a dumpster fire, bro. You had them right where you wanted them.
You had a huge lead.
Right? Like 10-point lead by some people's polls. And now we're, again, CBS polling, Fox polling, basically anybody's polling has it either a 1-point margin or even.
I think it's dead even. So the debate is really important.
Yes.
All right, Mapes. He's scared. Here we go. The quote was the same rules as CNN, but to have enough. No, that's not the quote. No, that's not the quote. That is actually not fucking close to the quote. What are you talking about? He's choosing his moderators, the location and the network, and saying in his speech yesterday that they can't cut him off. They can't control the microphones.
It's not the same.
What quote? I'm quoting him directly from his True Social post. What quote are you talking about? As he said, the moderators, which is better than George S., who is terrible. That's your opinion because you don't want fact checking. Donald Trump has straight up said he will not participate in debates that have fact checking, live fact checking. Why is that? You don't have to like the fact that not everybody lays down for him. But the idea that the quote is the same rules as CNN, I don't know what quote you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because that's not what he said. This goes back to crowd sizes. This goes back to, like, at some point, you have to just acknowledge he does not tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I think the most ardent Trump supporter, you can't make the argument that he tells the truth. He does not. Like, I've talked about this birther thing. What are you talking about? You either don't know the law or you're just being patently racist. If you're going to make the argument that she should not be allowed to run for president because birther, or that she's choosing to be black. She just decided to be black. Are you out of your mind? They handed you the election with Kamala Harris, and you won't talk about it, and you won't debate, and
then you want to say in your comment that
it's
here
the same
we go.
rules as CNN.
But I love this assertion. Here we go, like as if we're pro Harris. I've said how many times on this show, and so is he. Hey, it's not a Democrat or Republican thing on this show. It's hey, we're watching this show, this election play out right in front of us. And we're telling you literally every day that the Republicans are fumbling this thing so hard, man. Like, you had it right here in the palm of your hand.
You had the worst jobs report possible, and you're talking about her ethnicity. You had the worst jobs report possible, and you are talking about her being a woman. You had the worst jobs report possible, and your vice presidential candidate won't shut up when he was, again, more audio of him on podcasts. I just think you cannot allow J.D. Vance to do interviews or go on shows or anything. He's comparing abortion to slavery. Anytime you bring up slavery and compare it to something, you're making a mistake.
Yeah.
That should just be a baseline rule. Slavery, oppression, it was horrendous. It was a terrible part of our history. Let's talk about something else. Okay, I'm good with that. But J.D. Vance can't compare abortion and slavery on any level. That's just not going to resonate with voters.
Yeah.
Not black voters, not female voters, none of that. And furthermore, is that the message you're trying to send to moderates while you wear eyeliner? Because now we're past J.D. Vance making love to furniture.
Right.
We're now on to J.D. Vance wearing eyeliner, which is weird to me. I didn't believe it. And then there's pictures of J.D. Vance wearing eyeliner. What are we doing, JD?
Like, bro.
What are we doing? It's
on your face.
Is this the worst vice presidential candidate we have ever had, forever?
And this was supposed to be a power pick. Remember?
Yeah,
this was supposed to be like, hey, this is the dude.
And then he started talking.
Yeah.
You're wearing, JD, I don't know if you know this, dude, you're wearing eyeliner. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah. Allegedly wearing eyeliner to make his blue eyes look more blue.
And again, I know it doesn't matter, but CBS says nationally she's got a 1-point lead. Remember last week she was trailing by 2 points last week. And now she's got a lead. Okay, well, that's a bullshit poll. Well, then what do you say about Fox News? Because this is Fox News.
Yeah, there's no getting away from this one.
I don't know how you don't see that this campaign has got to get itself on track. The party of Trump has got to get itself on track. And I tend to agree with the pundits over the weekend talking about Chris Wallace over the weekend was talking about Donald Trump attacking Kamala Harris for using a teleprompter. Okay, then you take your teleprompter away. Don't use a teleprompter. Do you understand the oddity of that? that you're calling her nasty Kamala and low IQ Kamala. She's been a district attorney. She's a attorney general, and she's the vice president of the United States. I'm going to say she doesn't have a low IQ. I'm going to say that she's not dumb.
Well, and the problem is, and again,
what are you doing?
Like, say what you want about my take here, but calling Kamala Harris nasty and low IQ makes it look like you have low IQ. Like, that's a weak argument, dude. Like, the argument should be the economy, Afghanistan, her nonsense in California with the police, like all the easy topics that are just, here you go. Hey, Donnie, here's a list of things that you can criticize her on that are legitimate, that are topics, like easy.
Yeah, I just, Kamala Harris is such a flawed candidate.
Yeah.
Just talk about that. That's what I hope this turns into. I hope we get a debate. I hope that he agrees to, and he won't, but I hope that he agrees to fulfill his agreement. He agrees to fulfill his agreement. I hope he agrees to debate her on ABC. I hope that, because I want to see a debate where it's not just you're nasty, you're low IQ, you're dumb. Like, I want to see these two people debate on the issues. I want to see, like, if there was ever a time where the issues were being handed to the party of Trump, the economy is in absolute turmoil right now. You're down 1,200 points on the Dow. The global economy is reacting to the jobs report last week. Global markets are way off, and you want to call her dumb. When the Dow futures were way off, you could easily have talked about this instead of making it a passing comment in the exact same building that she had given a rally in days earlier. And you're busy ripping her for having entertainers at her rallies. Then what is Kid Rock doing? You're ripping her for having a teleprompter. What are you doing? Give me the economy. Give me immigration. Give me the jobs report. That's what we should be talking about.
Yes.
She's not hard on crime. New polling came out over the weekend that views Trump as the tough on crime candidate. Be tough on crime. New polling over the weekend shows that most Americans, especially likely voters who were polled, side with Kamala Harris on abortion and rights. And yet you have the party of Trump saying that they are the freedom party. But they're not standing up for freedoms. Like, if I'm Donald Trump, I don't, does he believe in the messaging that his campaign is giving him? Because Kamala is doing the exact right thing. Don't talk. Say very little. Say as little as possible.
Right.
Put out your social media posts, promote those posts, run your TV commercials, and just collect $300 million more. And if Donald Trump would just stay on message, the economy sucks. Which candidate do likely voters view as the better candidate for their economy? Donald Trump. So what should he be talking about? The economy. Talk about the jobs report. Talk about the markets. Talk about the fact that run your lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what this guy needs to do.
Play the hits.
But I don't know that his campaign, I have to believe his campaign is on that, and he just won't stay on message. So you have this mixing of circumstances where he just continues to help Kamala Harris because she doesn't have to do anything to help herself.
Yeah.
She's not doing she's doing what? A rally or two. She's doing a rally a week.
She's not having to work hard, dude.
Up to this point, because this week you're going to see her just absolutely hit the campaign trail. But up to this point, she's done, I think, 2 real organized speeches. And she's like the Netanyahu Israel thing.
Yeah.
Dude, whether it's true or not, and it's not, there were 41 global wars going on during Trump's presidency. But you're the guy who says you're the president of peace. Iran's about to attack Israel. Now, is that Joe Biden's fault? It's not. It's not remotely.
But
that's your messaging.
Yeah.
Go and hit that. The minute that happens, Kamala Harris, the war president, great. Knock it out.
Guys, we sent a carrier strike force group to the region. the current administration
go get it.
Is all about wars and violence, and you're going to get more of that under Harris. Like, that's what I mean. Like, stop telling me that we're pro Harris or pro Biden.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is that Trump is missing. That's what pro Trump folks don't want to say. Dude, it's right here for you. It's here for the taking, and he just won't take it.
And I hope people understand campaigning is very different than governing. We're not having a conversation about, was Trump a good president? Was he a bad president? We're not talking about that. We're talking about winning an election.
Yeah.
That's all this is. He has to debate her. And she knows that. It's why, like, I think he's trying to bait her into a discussion about her race, her gender. Like, you'll notice the whole boxing transgender thing went away very quickly. Boy, did you guys see Pat McAfee step into a pot of shit on that? Oh my God. Did you guys see that? So this female boxer who is by birth a female.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, so everybody started running with the, oh my God, this is a man who now classifies as completely untrue. This boxer was born a female, has always been a female, has always identified as a female, and gets into a match in the Olympics and hit her opponent hard enough that opponent quit and wouldn't shake her hand and then stormed out of the ring. And people were like, wow, this man that's fighting against women. It should be noted that the boxer who quit, did you see the statement the boxer who quit released? I was devastated my Olympics were gone. That's why I was crying. That's why I left the ring. Never was it a transgender issue, none of that. Because the boxer has always been a female. Always been a female. She tested higher testosterone throughout her life. That's where the questions came in. But the governing bodies of boxing, the governing bodies of the Olympics, all of the international sport have all said this is not an issue of transgender.
Do you think
transgender participation?
And I love this. People are like, "Oh, well, that's a dude hitting women. That's our culture now." No, bro. Do you think that they would let that happen? Do you think that? Do you think there's no screening for athletes? Do you think that there's no like? I couldn't believe that people latched onto that so hard. Like, you literally think that the Olympic governing body would allow that to happen? That's not taking place. It just is not going to happen.
It didn't. This was not an issue of being transgender or not. Pat McAfee just absolutely stepped in it and was talking about the worst of the worst. Danica Patrick, another one who deleted her post, thankfully. Just being completely. This is where we are when it comes to facts versus fiction. This is where we are in this country. And it's just Donald Trump going after Kamala Harris on being a woman is a huge mistake.
Yeah.
It's a huge mistake.
Because the problem is, to the masses, that's just a really bad look. Like, most people, even if you're pro-Trump, there are a lot of folks who, again, I always point to the guy they interviewed right after the assassination attempt. Hey, this guy was middle-aged white dude, had, said his family was there, said it in his heart of hearts, believes that Trump is the right guy for the job, and listed some reasons. But the problem is if your candidate is out here name calling and setting that bad tone, as a father or a mother, as a parent, what does it look like if you're saying, yeah, we should go vote for this guy? That's just a baseline, like, humanity thing that's not going to get you more votes. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm beginning to wonder if Team Trump is going to make the shift, or if it is, like you said, if the campaign's trying to get him to shift and he just won't, or what the deal is. Because like you said, we're not early anymore. Like, we're
very
late
of
this thing, dude.
We're 90 days.
Yeah.
We are very late. And it is, I would expect this week for the Trump campaign to pivot. I would think, because you're going to have easy targets. We got the Dow off. Now the Dow's recovering a little bit, so it's off 900. You've got the Dow off a bit. That's probably going to be 3 days of downturn, I would think, before the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
You've got this jobs report. You've got economy. You're going to be able to go after her candidate. And I think it's a very interesting position for Kamala Harris to whoever this VP is she chooses. I guess it'll be Shapiro from Governor Shapiro. That seems like
that's logical. It makes sense.
But he is Jewish. And that is going to be a very interesting juxtaposition inside of the Democratic Party to see where the Jewish community goes, whether that is with Trump, who has messaged that she hates Jewish people, even though she's married to a Jewish guy, which I'll get back to that in a second. But I think it'll be Shapiro will be very interesting to see what that does inside the party. I also think it's interesting that they tried to attack Kamala Harris for being married to a Jewish man, saying that she hates Jewish people. That didn't work. So they went back to Kamala Harris's husband had an affair on his previous marriage, which they got divorced. Then he met Kamala Harris. Like it was totally unrelated to her. And they now are trying to like push this whole their marriage is bad. Doug's a cheater and a philanderer, which I find fascinating based on who your presidential nominee is.
Yeah.
And the fact that his ex-wife, Doug's ex-wife, has raved about his marriage to Kamala Harris and the parent that Kamala Harris is. Raved about her. It's so odd to me that you're going back to something that was decades ago, and your candidate in Donald Trump is known to be a philanderer, is known to have had sex outside of his marriages.
Yeah.
And this is what you're going to go pick on him for. That kind of stuff is crazy to me. Again, back to messaging. But I think today and tomorrow, this is when the election could very well be won or lost for Kamala Harris. Because I think she learned so much out of that 2019
debacle
disaster. It's wild to me how bad she was as a candidate. And she's improved in that. One, obviously, she's been the vice president of the United States for 3 years. She's got more experience. She is clearly a better speaker now. She understands staying on message. And I'm very curious, how much of her VP candidate do we see? Because I agree with Donald Trump that most of the time you're not electing the vice president. J.D. Vance has become a guy you don't want to vote for.
Right.
So if she takes a running mate in Shapiro, who I think it's going to be, Tim Walz is interesting, but is Minnesota really something you're going to fight for? You haven't lost Minnesota since the 70s. Shapiro's a very interesting figure. How divisive will he be inside the Democratic Party? Because I think he would, inside of that party, I think that'll be interesting. Mike Smith, Bill Barr looks like a bullfrog with glasses. Well, Bill Barr's in kind of a world of hurt right now. Did you guys see the reporting over the weekend on the Egyptian $10 million payment to Trump that was being investigated inside the Trump Justice Department, and Bill Barr killed it? And now, because the story on the peripheral is Donald Trump in 2016, during that campaign cycle, made this big to-do about how he was self-funding his campaign, which clearly never happened. But did this whole thing about how I'm giving $10 more million to my campaign. And according to reports, that money was backfilled by the Egyptian government. And the reporting's kind of scary. Because you remember his love affair with the Egyptian dictatorship. And all of the back padding that went on there. And just go Google, and I know it's crazy. You can go find this. It's on the internet. If you Google search Trump, Egypt, $10 million, it'll come right up. There is a volume of reporting over the weekend that talks about how down to the transaction, how the Egyptian government withdrew $10 million of their American dollar holdings in cash and transported that money in bags, and it found its way back to Washington. And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump becomes a huge fan of the Egyptian government and its dictator. It's a really...
Yeah.
Anyway, at the end of the day, Bill Barr killed that investigation. It was obviously he was in charge. And there's substantial proof or evidence based on this reporting. And I'm curious how much of an issue that makes or that becomes.
Well, and I think it's things like that where when I think about, to get back to our original reason for talking about this, say you think about a debate between these two. If you think that Harris and Trump are not going to come prepared with dirt like that in a debate, they're going to come prepared. And I think
But so you think they're going to debate?
I think Donnie won't have a choice. I think he has to debate her.
I would agree.
I think that, her being so bullish on her response, straight up saying like, what happened at any time, anywhere, you just want a safe space. Like tweeting that tells me that she, A, is not scared to debate him, but then B, is really not scared to be brash about it.
But again, that's just political operation. That's exactly what she should be saying. Hey, what happened anytime, any place? If you're going to say it about me, say it to my face.
Yeah.
She's on message. And that's why she's starting to win in some really important zip codes in this country.
Yeah. I hope for our country's sake that Donnie and company get on message and start executing a little better, because I do think that at some point we need to get back in our country to proper debates and election cycles. We need to get back to, hey, they're both on topic, on conversation, and we understand, because again, it used to be, hey, Republican versus Democrat. Republican had their views on we're talking this one topic, two different views. Who do you want to vote for? And that's not what it is anymore.
Are we really debating this? Trump backed out of a prearranged debate. He did. Do you guys not understand how debates are booked? Is this really a conversation? I don't think he's scared of Kamala Harris, for the record.
No.
And wants his faux news blanket. Okay. Do you guys understand how debates are booked? They're not booked like Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. That's not how they're agreed to. They're agreed to at the party level. Your nominee will debate our nominee. So it's, are we really debating this idea that he pulled out of the debate? I mean, he said, I'm not going to debate her. There's no other way to spin that. Are we really making a debate that or are we really having an argument that he pulled out of the debate because Joe Biden's not there? That's not how debates are booked, first of all. Second of all, there is a debate in place, and he was agreed to be part of that debate. His party agreed to facilitate it. He agreed to take part in it. He is now not agreeing to take part in it. So it's awfully difficult to go and say that.
And you can't run the excuse of, well, they changed candidates and that's why the debate doesn't work. You can't make that excuse when he's out here saying, oh yeah, I'll debate it doesn't matter who the candidate is. I'll debate anybody.
But again, contractually, it's not Donald Trump versus Joe Biden.
But here's the deal. How many Americans or average Joe voters even know that?
Are you saying that then JD Vance won't debate whoever the vice presidential pick is because it's not Kamala Harris? You can't apply that logic. Do you really think JD Vance was agreeing to anything? No, the Republicans agreed to the vice presidential debate. The presidential debate. There's supposed to be a series of debates. Always has been, I guess never will be. But you can't argue that. Do we really know this little about politics in this country? This is like Donald Trump saying that Joe Biden was democratically elected. He was never democratically elected. Not in this cycle. He was democratically elected before, which you tried to take away on January 6th. But he was not, there's no democratic election in the primary season. Was Donald Trump democratically elected? Yeah, because he was named the presidential nominee at the convention. Was Joe Biden named the presidential nominee at a convention? By delegates? He was not. Was Kamala Harris? Now she has been in the virtual convention named the Democratic nominee for president. So I this idea that we don't know how this is my biggest complaint. Educate yourself before you say stupid shit. Yeah. If you don't know how something works, go and Google it. It is all the Constitution is on Google. You can go read the Constitution. Go read how debates are booked. Go read how debates are booked.
Yeah.
You guys, you've got to be better than that. Come on. I just, yeah. Anyway. I'm amazed. Let's see. Who dare I read? Mike Smith. What? You mean the agreement is between the Republican and the Democratic nominee? I swear I thought I said that earlier. But these Trump fanboys ignore it. It's never been Ronald Reagan's going to debate your mom. It's always been the Republican Party agrees to debate the Democratic Party. It's not this idea. Yeah, I don't know. I am, what I'm telling you is that there's no logic in the argument that somehow, some way, Donald Trump is.
Listen, if Donnie
he's not scared of Kamala Harris, he wants it in a place that is comfortable for him. He wants it on Fox News. He wants it with Brett Baer because him and Brett Baer are boys. He wants it in Pennsylvania because that's a Republican stronghold, a party of Trump stronghold. I would want those circumstances as well. That does not mean he's scared of Kamala Harris. I'm not all in on that. I'm not. But that he will not tolerate fact checking. What does that tell you? Even again, I'm asking the most passionate Trump supporter. Do you believe Donald Trump tells the truth even half the time? Do you really believe the people that run that school where he did his speech the other day in Georgia? Do you really think they were like, yeah, we're going to hold people outside because we want to damage the Trump campaign? Do you really think he was doing that? Do you think they were doing that? Do you think they made the people who left that rally early? Did you see all the people leaving the Number one, can somebody tell him he does not need to speak for 2 hours? But did you see all the people leaving the rally early? That's not because they hate Donald Trump. It's too fucking long. Right? Like Kamala Harris didn't just decide to be black so she could run for president. You believe that that's him telling the truth? That's a lie. That he goes on about how he's the jobs president. He lost net jobs during his administration. Those are facts. He talks about being the freedom, the president of freedom. You can't say you're the president of freedom and then tell women what they can and cannot do with their bodies. You can't say you're the president of freedom and cheer on as people try to murder politicians on January 6th. You can't call yourself the president of freedom and lie about the election in 2020. Repress voter rights in Georgia. You can't, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. But you can't call yourself I thought it was hysterical over the weekend on Fox that you had Republican senators talking about how Donald Trump is the president for the middle class. What has Donald Trump done to help the middle class? Did his tariffs help the middle class? No, they did not. They devastated the middle class. Did his tax plan, his new tax code, did it help the middle class? No, it did not. It decimated the middle class. It made more billionaires than we've ever had. Now, is Joe Biden been a great middle class? He hasn't, but that's not the point. The point is, Donald Trump does not tell the truth. And we need to be able to fact check that, especially when an election is happening and people are listening to him and he's not allowing you to say that's not true, sir. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. I mean, it's wild to me.
And I do think that you're vastly underestimating the majority of our population and their ability to see the idea that, hey, he doesn't want fact checking. Why would that be?
Like Project 2025 is a great example.
Yeah.
The idea that he has no ties and has no idea what's going on at Project 2025. Well, let's see. It's made up of all of his former White House staff, all of his former campaign staff, and the Heritage Foundation, who is made up of all of his people. And he doesn't know them, doesn't know what they're about, nothing. Come on. So then when the Democrats started hitting him on Project 2025, he knows nothing about it, yet he went to them and had them turn it off, essentially. Had them stop running ads, had them stop operating. But he doesn't know them and he has nothing to do with it. Then why did they shut down?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can't have it both ways. If he doesn't know Project 2025, then why did they shut down and why did they stop operating? You can't have it both ways, guy. Like, if you're going to win this election, my passionate belief is if the party of Trump is going to win this election, he has to debate her. He will have to, at some point, talk about issues that don't relate to her sexuality, her gender, or her race and the fact that she chose or decided to be black. He's going to have to somehow talk about race and gender without sounding like a racist misogynist, which is going to be really difficult for him to do. But I think if the party of Trump is going, and I think this election is wide open. We have not even seen Kamala Harris campaign yet. Let's see, because when is she going to step in the jackpot?
At some point, she will.
She will say something. She will do something. She'll go back, whether it's, you think about 2019, the fracking stuff, or she's going to say something. She's going to do something, which is why he has to debate her. He has to ask her issues that are fundamental to the election. He has to call her out on border crime. Which, again, I don't know that he can actually win that argument. Because did you guys hear him talk about MS-13 the other day? This has not been an issue in this country ever. And it has nothing to do with illegal immigration. You can't keep going back to Hillary Clinton in 2016 and apply that to Kamala Harris in 2024. He will not win, but he has to debate her.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris, I don't think you can ditch JD Vance at this point. I would muzzle him. My God damn, I would muzzle him.
Yeah.
Because you cannot do that.
Negativity comes to your campaign every time he talks.
MAGA Boy says Project 2025 is a left-wing conspiracy. So wait, I'm just curious. You make it so easy. So you're saying that Donald Trump has nothing to do with Project 2025. So it's not all of his former White House staff, all of his former campaign staff, and the Heritage Foundation. And when the heat got too much, and that, I think that's really where the downfall of this campaign is going to have begun if they lose. You don't think he went to them and was like, I mean, it's not even inarguable, or it's not even up for debate, excuse me. Donald Trump told them to stop, and they stopped. What do you like? Yeah, that's why you don't get many of your comments read.
Yeah.
As simple as it is. As simple as it is. There you go. That's the Monty Show. Always a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for having no matter which side of the debate you're on, if you're party of Trump or Democrat, you're always welcome here. Your voice is always welcome here. Enjoy the debate. Enjoy the conversation, as always. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Yes, we will have a Laurie Markkinen debate. Tomorrow is the day.
It's here.
I don't think they're moving them. I do not think they're moving them. The Monty Show is always presented by The Advocates. At theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, where you don't pay a penny unless and until they win your case. Workman's comp, motorcycle accidents, bike accidents, car accidents. If you've been injured, it wasn't your fault. Theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.